Okay, so do you want to do the opening remarks for
Yep.
this one, bro?
Good afternoon. This is our weekly podcast called The Football Referee, approaching the new season, new Premier League season now, and of course the EFL season twos. So I'm Trevor Gear, and he calls me bruv.
And I'm Emmy, and he calls me Cos. Welcome to the football referee, segment one of the football referee. Now, here we. Okay, so do you want to do the opening remarks for
Yep.
this one, bro? Ah, sorry about that.
I heard
It
you
takes
again.
it takes a while to come up, so when it comes up, it just catches you on off guard.
Yeah.
Um, what is happening with our star player? Well, is our second star player. Uh, what's his name? Adam Wharton. Is he staying? Is he going? We've been talking about him for
Yeah.
ages. Do you know anything more?
No, nothing has been said about it. Nothing that I've read. Obviously, Palace fans like me, we're hoping he doesn't go because he's
Yeah.
a great midfield player there, and it will be a real shame if he doesn't. But I think sometimes, and as in the past, you can
Yeah.
think, well, nobody's come for somebody, and it's the beginning of the season, and then you realise the transfer window goes on till beginning of September, first of September, I think.
Yeah.
So that's when some activity does take place. Some clubs leave it a bit to the last minute to buy somebody. They hope they'll get a reduction in the price by doing that. It doesn't always work. But yeah, I will be a little bit on edge until the end of the window because players have been known to go like on the very last day of the transfer window. So
Yeah.
yeah, at the moment, there's nothing that I know of that is suggesting he's going. So no, not at the moment. Fingers crossed he doesn't.
Yeah, because I really love the kid. He's a really good player. So you can imagine why he's been sought after
Yeah,
by
very
by,
much
va
so.
by various clubs. I would love for him to remain at Crystal Palace. I would really love that. Now there was something else about Crystal Palace that I read, and I'll come to it in a minute. Um, but let's look at Maresca, and this is a bit of a
Mateta.
light-hearted.
Yeah, Mateta.
No, Enzo Maresca, sorry.
Oh, sorry. Apologies. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yep.
Enzo Maresca and what's his name? The top striker, Erling Haaland. Now,
Yeah.
this is what Maresca says. He says at Leicester City, I had a rule when we scored a goal, the captain had to come to the bench not to celebrate, but to receive instructions. But if the captain scores a goal, then he can celebrate. If Erling is the captain, oh my God, we have a problem. Can you imagine?
Yeah. Except I'm sure I read the other day that he said Erling Haaland will never become the captain. Maybe that was why. But he did
Hmm.
say that, I think. He won't be the captain.
Do you think that's why he's not allowing him to become the captain?
Not really. I don't
Yeah.
think you should shackle somebody potentially with the weight of being captain. There have been cases, I think, over the years where somebody was made into a captain, good player, whoever it may be, and their form kind of dropped off a bit because maybe they felt they had another role as well, the link to the manager, and they got to police the team and what's going on. And obviously, that's part of it, and it sort of affected their own game. Can't
Hmm.
readily think of anyone who that may have affected. Possibly at one stage, Steven Gerrard. He was a great player at Liverpool, and he was their captain. And I think, if my memory is right, when he first became captain, his game dropped off a little bit. But yeah, he went. He was fine. He recovered from that. And yeah, I think if he's told Haaland you're not going to be captain, it's probably because he's not captain material. And even as observers like us and other football fans, you
Mm,
can almost see that all you want him to do is focus on scoring the goals, getting in the position, beating the defenders. You don't want to shackle him with other responsibilities, I would have thought.
no, no, yeah, I quite understand that. Now, Cristiano Ronaldo is got married.
Yeah, I
Now
saw that.
that is not the news. That's a petty news. But so Cristiano Ronaldo and Georgina Rodriguez are married. So okay, so that's one news. But I then read that what's his name? There's this one of our journalists on ITV. He used to be on ITV, went to America. He's very, very famous. And now he really supports Cristiano Ronaldo. Now he was invited. He got an invite to the wedding, but Bruno Fernandes didn't get an invite to the wedding. Do you think there's a
Really.
bad blood? Do you think there's a bad blood between them?
I mean, we know they both play for Portugal.
Mm,
Both were doing that in the World Cup. I mean, I did get the feeling at the World Cup that
mm,
maybe Ronaldo has his, I won't, not enemies in the team, but I think there are some in the team who probably kind of resents the fact that generally Ronaldo doesn't get substituted. I mean, I think he was once or twice, possibly once, because the manager doesn't really feel he's got the strength to substitute someone with Ronaldo's pedigree, etc. But
mm,
yeah, he is sort of specially treated. Ronaldo, he's a great player and has got a great pedigree, as I say. But somebody in that situation where very few people have ever said no to them, they can get a bit full of themselves. And you could understand if one or two players in the team don't necessarily get on with that player. If they've been he's been around so many World Cups and Euro finals and things, and he's graced them all. You know, he's a great player. But
mm.
that's not to say there's bad blood between him and anybody else. We don't ultimately know, do we?
No, we don't.
But if we know specifically that Bruno wasn't invited,
Mm,
other than he may have had a cold or a cough or who knows what,
mm,
um, then you know we can't really make that comment. Also, I mean, I imagine you imagine that someone with his wealth, it would have been a big celebratory occasion with
mm,
hundreds of people there. Equally, sometimes people of that ilk, of that wealth, etc., they want to basically make it a fairly close family affair. So I think that also determines whether he's going to invite. And it must be difficult for someone like Ronaldo in that situation. You know, okay, who do I invite from the team? Both his own team, who he plays for, is in Saudi, isn't he? And also the World Cup Portugal team.
mm,
Inevitably, he's not going to necessarily be close to all of the players, and yet
mm,
he would feel a bit in a difficult situation if he invited three or four of them, which he probably did, and
mm,
not the rest, because there's going to be one or two on the cusp, on the borderline of, well, why didn't I get invited? So somebody is in a very difficult situation. So he may have decided just not to invite any or many from the football world. We don't know, but I don't think
mm.
that means there's any rift between him and Bruno at all. No.
Mm. Now, I remember the name of the journalist is Piers Morgan.
All right. Yeah. Piers
Yeah,
Morgan.
Piers
Yeah.
Morgan. So Piers Morgan got an invite. But welcome, Jerome.
Hi guys. Hi
Hi,
Uh,
Jerome.
Trevor.
Good to see you.
good to see you,
Good
man.
to
Good
see
to
you.
see you. Good to see you. Now, this is up your street, Jerome. We're talking about CR7. That's how you call him, don't you?
Yeah.
Cristiano Ronaldo. So.
Cristiano
Yes,
the
yes.
Great Ronaldo.
Cristiano, the great Ronaldo. I know you're a big fan of Ronaldo, but right. So we're saying that Ronaldo has just been married to Christina Georgina
Georgina.
Rodriguez,
Yeah.
and he says it was an intimate and private civil ceremony attended by their five children. I didn't know they had five children, but anyway. Now the bone of contention here is. Ronaldo's played for Manchester United, which you're a fan. Bruno Fernandes currently plays for Manchester United.
Mm-hmm.
Now, Ronaldo and Bruno Fernandes are both in the Portugal international
Portuguese national team. Yeah.
national team.
Mm-hmm.
Now, is there a bad blood? Because he invited Piers Morgan and he didn't invite Bruno Fernandes. Is there a bad blood between them, would you say?
I wouldn't think there's necessarily a bad blood within them. And since the two people can play for the same team,
Right?
but doesn't really mean that intimacy of friendship is really there. There are
Okay.
people you can classify as your teammates
Yeah.
and within the team, and there are people within the team you could call your friends.
Yeah.
So so it doesn't mean you got not classifying someone from your country or your team as your friend doesn't mean there's
Yeah.
a bad blood. I
No.
just think it's privacy. They're professionals on the pitch for Portugal and for United. They both do their trades. It, I don't think it necessarily means there's bad blood.
Mm.
And do you have some inner circle of friends which you can call for? If they need two, three, you can just, oh, this is my friend.
Mm.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
that's what I think. I don't necessarily think there's any sort of bad blood between
Right.
them.
Okay. Yeah. So we might be reading too much into it then. Or I might be reading too much into it. If you both think there's no bad blood between them. But yeah, I was just thinking about the connection with Manchester United and the connection with Portuguese as the international team. They played alongside in the World Cup. But anyway. Now the next one is Omar Artan. The Somali referee, sorry,
Referee. Yeah.
referee. Uh,
Bit of a difference, refugee or referee.
I know. Anyway, so
Freudian slip.
The Somalian referee who was denied a US visa for the World Cup
Yeah.
will now officiate the 2026 UEFA Super Cup final between PSG and Aston Villa. Do we think this is uh, UEFA just carrying on the row between them and FIFA? Because there's something really going on between UEFA and FIFA, and do you think it's like, yeah, so we're gonna overturn everything that you've said? Is that what's going on here?
Okay. Okay. Sorry. Can I just chip in? Right.
Yeah, okay.
In this case, it wasn't FIFA that denied him access to the World Cup. It was
No.
it was the USA.
That's correct. Yeah, that's a good
Yeah. So
point.
at that point, it wasn't FIFA. So irrespective of what's happening right now between UEFA and FIFA, I wouldn't really say it was FIFA that he had issues with FIFA not going to the World Cup.
Yeah,
FIFA appointed him as a World Cup referee, but
yeah,
it says the country has the right to grant or deny visas.
yeah.
So, and in this case, President Trump and the United States just felt, okay, he's got some, for whatever reason,
Okay,
they denied him access to visa to the United to officiate in the World Cup.
okay.
So, yeah, that's got nothing to do between the
The
wrong
row.
going between FIFA and UEFA.
No.
And
Okay.
yeah, so that's for that.
All right.
So
Thanks.
I feel him officiating the final match. I just think it's like a compensation for him.
All right. Okay.
Yeah, I actually just feel it's a compensation for him.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
Okay.
that's my take.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, bruv.
Yeah, I agree with Jerome on that. I mean, it wasn't FIFA. It was much as we'd like, with some justification, to blame FIFA for most things, because they didn't do a great job overall, really, with the World Cup. But no, it was the USA that decided not to let him have entry into the USA. But I do agree that I think UEFA appointing him for that match is a sort of compensation to just as a human gesture, really, to say, look, you missed out probably on a once in a lifetime chance of going to the World Cup, wherever it is, and being a referee, and you tell your family know that, your children, your grandchildren. What a thing to be able to say for any official. We rather take the officials at World Cups and these huge football competitions for granted, but for them it's a heck of an achievement to get chosen by FIFA or UEFA to referee big time football matches. So
Mm.
yeah, I think UEFA probably took a little bit of pity on him and thought, well, he was so disappointed, but he can do a great big match for us, and he can tell his family all about that for generations to come.
Mm. Mm. Now, so the just on the back of that one, now we have the Super Cup, UEFA Super Cup final. Now, why is it between PSG and Aston Villa? And what is that cup about? Does anybody know? Aston Villa,
You got me
PSG.
there. You got me
Yeah,
there. I don't know.
yeah. I,
No,
I,
don't
I,
know.
I have no idea. I'll have to look into that.
Yeah.
Do you know, Jerome?
No idea for me.
Yeah, because I know
No.
PSG won the UEFA Champions League. Did Aston Villa win the Europa?
The Europa Cup. I think they must have done. Yeah.
Oh, they must have done. All right, so
I
that
think they
explains
did. It's
They
those two
that.
teams,
defeated.
isn't it?
Yeah, they defeated.
Conjuro.
They defeated. What's the name of that team? Am I
I
right?
So
mean,
No.
we all watched the game, didn't we? I just
yeah,
can't remember.
yeah. I just can't remember. Yeah, I can't think that far back. But anyway, I think that sort of gives it a kind of a temporary answer to that because I
Yeah.
saw that and I thought, what's the Super Cup? What's it got to do with PSG and Aston Villa? But if Aston
No,
Villa
it's
won it,
those two
yeah.
results. But could you just, as the host here, Kaz, just remind us who won the third Euro competition, please? Who was that? Oh wait,
I
it was
love
Crystal
that.
Palace,
I
wasn't
would
it? Of
say it.
course,
I
yeah,
would say
yeah.
it.
I knew you were about to mention that, weren't you?
Let me say it. Crystal Palace, our beloved Crystal Palace.
We should have another game to play, like in a semi-Super Cup, shouldn't we? If there
Yeah.
was someone else to play, but no,
Well,
no, that's obviously what it is, though. This Super Cup. So
I
that
think that's what
so
it
good,
is. So
good
that's
for the
good.
ref. Good for the ref.
Yeah,
Yeah.
good for the ref. Yeah. Okay, so Saudi clubs spent 3 years trying to sign Mohamed Salah, including submitting a 170 million bid. Now, it was available this summer, but on a free transfer, but it still shunned them. What is wrong with Saudi, with Salah? I mean, you'd think it's a no-brainer. Mohamed Salah, Saudi, 170 million. I'd jump at that.
Yeah. Well, I mean, he went to a Turkish club.
He
His name
did.
was quite difficult to remember, but he's gone there, which, let's face it, is not the steaming hot temperatures necessarily of Saudi. I think you
Mm,
say there's no reason. I mean, there's plenty of money on offer, but not every player, I presume, wants to go there. I think one example of somebody who pretty much did was Jordan Henderson, and he didn't
mm,
stay that long because I think, from what I remember reading, he or his family didn't really settle in the very hot weather. Although, of course, there's air conditioning everywhere. So yeah, I don't think it's a bit of a mystery that Salah has not gone to Saudi,
mm,
but to the Turkish club. And yeah, I mean, maybe Saudi would have offered him more money, but
mm,
these footballers at his level, I mean, they all want more money, but they're probably at the stage that we know they're multimillionaires, and if
mm,
they're going to be offered a multi-million-pound contract with a club in Turkey,
mm.
you don't have the hot weather to deal with all the time. That probably would defeat any other offer hands down. So I think it's more likely that.
Yeah. Wow. Jerome, you have anything to say on that?
Yeah, yeah. So I felt for a player of Salah's class, if he probably still thinks, yeah, he's still in his prime, he can still do more. There's more to achieve than
Yeah.
money. It's not all players look at the financial aspect. They still want to be active. They still want to be in the league that will bring out the best in them. You
mm,
know, I probably felt that might have been his decision.
mm,
Yeah, remain active, very competitive, rather than go go for the money in the Saudi
mm,
leagues.
mm,
I'm not saying the Saudi league is the worst league, but
mm.
yeah, you've seen players gone there, and you know the impact. Some, as Trevor rightly said, some went there and left.
Mm.
You know, including what's his name, the Brazilian guy. A couple of them have been to Saudi, and
Mm.
yeah, they left at the end of the day. So I think Salah just probably just wanted to be more competitive.
Yeah, yeah. I think you might be thinking about Neymar Jr.
Neymar, there's a lot of Brazilians that have been to the Saudi League, and
Yeah,
you know,
Mm.
most of them went back to Brazil, and you know,
yeah,
uh,
yeah.
yeah,
So
to
which
pick up their careers again.
Yeah. So which one do we think is more in sort of like it's in the top semi top class football? Saudi or Turkey?
I think, personally, I think the Turkish league is it's up there compared to
Yeah,
the Saudi
yeah.
league. Yeah,
Above Saudi, yeah. Okay.
yeah, above
Bruv?
Saudi.
Yeah, I agree with that. I think the Turkish league is above. And just at this point, to
Mm,
raise a matter from our podcast last week, if
mm.
you remember, Cuz, we introduced a new section to our viewers and listeners and saying, please spot our deliberate mistake, didn't we? Do you remember that?
All right,
And at
okay.
one stage, just to try and fool our viewers, if you remember, we sort of together decided that Benefenche was in the Netherlands. And we thought, I wonder if they'll pick up that we're talking rubbish there. And of course, just to let them know, it is in Turkey. So I thought I'd just let them know that one and keep an eye out for today's mistake. And it probably won't be it won't be deliberate either.
That's a good way to put it. Thanks for that, bro.
But we apologise anyway for the
We
mistake.
do, we do, yeah. Now, Arne Slot confirms that confirms he wants to take club job instead of national team. At this stage of my career, I prefer to see myself on the training pitch with my players every day. Something that is simply not possible in the same way with a national team. It would be a great honor to represent my country as national coach one day. However, this is not the right. Now, what are we thinking? All right, so club or international? So national club, which one is more demanding? I believe we've had this sort of debate once on this program where we've had to compare the club management and national team management. Which one is more demanding?
Over to you, Jerome.
Okay, I think serving as a club coach is more demanding because
Okay.
you got the fans every week or within the week wanting a win.
Hmm.
Um, you've been they want you to go play like the Champions League, qualify for the Champions League. With
Hmm.
yeah, as a national coach, I'm not saying it's not demanding.
Hmm.
They just okay. They probably you got probably two or three competitions, the World Cup, which is like every number of years, and the European. So
Hmm.
it's more demanding being like a club coach because
All right.
week in and week out, the club fans, the management, they demand a lot from you.
Mm,
They want you to be at your the very best. They're expecting you to win. They're expecting you to qualify for every competition, you
mm,
know. And you got a lot of managers, footballers from diverse backgrounds
mm.
to manage.
Okay.
Some you probably need an interpreter. Some you know it's really I think it's really demanding, more demanding than the job of a national team coach.
Okay. Bruv?
Yeah, I think there's a couple of ways of looking at this. Again, you've got to think of it from the position, the point of view of the manager in question. Now, the manager in question here is Arne Slot.
Mm,
I don't know whether he was offered the Netherlands manager's job. It sounds like he may have been, but he
mm,
said, "No, I don't want that anyway. I'd rather manage a club." And I think managers would probably take the view that they want the in and out, day to day, being, as Jerome said, I think being with their players every day, training, and going for the various competitions. So if someone, I don't know whether it has to do with someone's age, maybe a younger guy would want the day to day pressures of football management. Maybe someone older who's been there and done it in the leagues would say, "Yeah, I don't mind a slightly easier sounding job with the national team," because let's face it, they only get together relatively rarely. I mean, probably, I don't know, 3 or 4 times, maybe sort of once a month. Once the football season starts, you probably
mm,
get that togetherness. But most of the time, you spend your weekends and probably during the week going around seeing international football teams, local football teams, league teams, to sort of look at the players you potentially pick. So
mm,
it's a whole lot easier in terms of any stress, if you like, day-to-day stress or pressure on the manager. Now, all that said, I think you have to ask, what about the end game with this? Now, if you're a league manager, let's take the Premier League or any other league, but let's say the Premier League, actually, for many teams, probably for most teams in the Premier League, say outside of the top five, top four, five, or six,
mm,
it can be a relatively successful season for that manager. A, if he
mm,
doesn't get relegated, maybe their expectation is to finish and not get relegated. So he's been successful. For the
mm,
mid-table clubs, in the top half would be success. And indeed, for the upper lower half would be success. They've also got two cups to play for, the FA Cup, the Carabao Cup, as
mm,
well as the Premier League, although that is the preserve of really only two or three clubs at the moment. So
mm,
what I'm saying is a football league, a Premier League manager can be considered a success because by not winning anything, but by his position, where he's ending up and some good games during the season.
mm,
Whereas an international manager, really, let's take England, they've got a choice of winning just two trophies. I mean, I know we get the Nations Cup. I mean, Nations League, that's something fairly new anyway. But the
mm,
main two objectives of an international manager are to win the World Cup and or the European Championship.
mm,
So that only two teams can win that once every 2 years in each case. So the vast majority of international managers are technically going to fail because they're not
mm,
going to win one of those two or three trophies. And like the South American ones, they've got their own leagues, and the African ones have as well. So
mm,
it's a lot harder, I would say, for an international team to win a trophy than
mm,
it might be for a domestic league team to achieve what they set out to achieve, i.e., don't get relegated, finish mid-table, win one of the two other cups.
mm,
So yeah, it's that kind of thing. And on that basis, I would say an international manager may have more chance of getting fired. And they may give him or her two competitions, a World Cup, a Euros Cup. But if he or she fails in both, I suspect they would want a new manager there.
mm,
Whereas you do get Football League managers, Premier League managers who are there for some years. We know that Klopp was there for about, I think, 8, 9 years at Liverpool. Guardiola, I think, came in 2016, something like that. He's been
mm.
there a good 10 years or so.
10 years,
But
yeah.
interestingly, this season, I think I think 11 clubs have changed their manager in the Premier League, which is a huge change of management across
Mm,
20 teams, isn't it?
mm,
So that's going to
mm,
be quite interesting to see the impact of that. But yeah, I mean, to answer your basic question, I don't know which one is more pressurable. But I would say if someone wants an easier life, like Guardiola, I mean,
mm,
he was offered the job at
mm,
Italy management, but I gather he wanted more money than they
mm,
were prepared to pay.
mm,
So yeah, it may suit someone I mean, Klopp, of course, is now going to be he's the German manager, isn't he? So it's going to be interesting
Oh,
to
wow.
see how he does. And obviously, I guess from his point of view, he
Mm,
had 8, 9, 10 intense years at Liverpool, which he obviously loved, became part of the furniture there. So
mm.
now he wants something. He's happy to take the German job, presumably because he's thinking, yeah, it's a whole different set of responsibilities. I'm going to be looking at the best players week by week, but he's not under that cosh of must-win pressure as he was for one of the top clubs who wanted to win the league, which of course he did on one occasion, the Premier League. So
Mm.
yeah, it's horses and horses for courses, I would say.
Yeah. Yeah. I was just looking at that. And I
Okay.
thought, oh,
Okay.
yeah.
Just like Trevor rightly said, all right.
Yeah.
Just like the league teams, yeah, they
Yeah.
set they set targets. Okay, if you can make it be among the top five, qualify for a certain competition, it's good. We've seen low. I know lots of national teams. They say, oh, all you need to do, beat the previous record by qualifying for quarterfinals.
Yeah,
Okay.
fair
They
enough.
set targets like that as
Yeah,
well. Or if
Yeah.
it is just qualify for second round, that means you've gone above our previous record. They also set those records
Yeah.
yeah.
for national team coaches. So I
All
just
right.
wanted to chip that in.
Oh,
It's a
wow.
good
Well done.
point. Yeah,
That's a good
good
point. Yeah.
point.
Yeah. Now, let's go to Barcelona. There's a lot happening in Barcelona. So there's Rodri wanting to get there, but then there's another player that's joined the equation of players wanting to force their way into. Now, this one, it says Julian Alvarez is completely determined to play for Barcelona and will fight for the move until the very end. If he has to force his way out to make it happen, that is exactly what he's prepared to do. Um, is there still room in Barcelona for Alvarez? I mean, we've got this wonder kid there, um, which
Mhm.
um,
Pedri,
I really like to mention his name every time.
Lamal, isn't it?
Pedri.
Lamine Yamal,
Yeah, I mean, all
Yeah,
right.
the wonder
Lamal.
kid, Lamine Yamal. I mean, he's there. Where is Alvarez trying to fit in there? I don't understand that. But that's not what we're going to discuss. What I really want to say is players trying to force a transfer. I mean, we've seen that last season with uh, Isak, Alexander Isak, where he actually forced his way and got what he wants. Is that the new way to do it? Bro, go first.
I think footballers probably have most of the power.
Mm,
It's changed over the last few years. I mean, you go back a few years, and maybe managers and owners were the powerful people at clubs. But that's gradually morphed into the players. And of course, they have agents who actually do a lot of stuff on their behalf and make it a bit easier for the player. But my own view is if a player of any decency
mm,
wants to leave a club, even one of the top clubs, they will be able to engineer it, often just on the grounds that no club wants to keep an unhappy player,
mm,
because even if he doesn't deliberately not play well, which I don't think necessarily happens, I think players have individual pride, so they would do their best. But if they want to get away, they're not going to be quite as fired up as they might have been.
mm.
So I think a club realizes, no, if once a player decides for whatever
I'm
reason,
not quite sure how to help you with that.
sorry, that was my Alexa speaking. I didn't say Alexa, did I? Anyway, um, yeah. So if they want to go, I mean, for example, if at any point Haaland decides he wants to go, and I mean, there have been rumours, haven't there, that Real Madrid wants him.
Mm,
So you never know. We could be thunderstruck with a sudden bit of news that he's been taken by Real Madrid, despite this long contract on
mm,
what, 500,000 a week that he has with Man City. I don't suppose he will go, but it's always possible. But
mm,
let's if he became, if he heard of that, if he obviously has heard of that, but if he decided he wanted to go and his agent's been talking to someone at the other club, then I think Manchester City would have to at least take the money that they will be prepared to pay for him, which will be enormous.
Mm,
Because once you've got an unhappy player, particularly a key player in your team,
mm,
that can infect other players. And you can say, well, I'll put them on the bench, but that's not any answer. So I think to answer the question, players, I think, do have they do have the power ultimately. You can get a manager who will say, well, okay, mate, if you don't want to play for us, I'll keep you on the bench. But ultimately, that doesn't work. I mean, Isak, as you say, had a very difficult departure from Newcastle, which didn't do the club or him any good at all, really.
mm,
Whether it was that gave him his early injury or injuries, the fact that he hadn't had a proper pre-season, so maybe he paid a bit of a price for holding out for what he wanted. But the point is, he got his way. He got to a club he wanted to go
mm,
to, and of course, as it happens, Newcastle are now shedding a number of their players, not least with the manager gone as well.
mm,
So we can see what can happen once something starts to happen, like a transfer
mm.
drain. But yeah, I do think that players do hold the key to who goes where. Now, I'm not. I mean, Alvarez, is he still at Manchester City, or is he? Did he move somewhere else?
It was Atletico Madrid.
Madrid.
Yeah,
It wasn't a loan. That was a transfer, was it?
yeah, yeah.
Yeah. But again, but having said all I've said, I'm not sure that a player has got the power to make a team want him. I mean, if as you imply, if Barcelona feel they're well covered in their positions, they're not going to go and get him necessarily.
Mm,
So I don't think he necessarily has that level of power to go to that sort of club. But if a club wants somebody and he wants to go, then I think it will happen.
mm. Uh, Jerome?
Okay, how would I view this? Okay, I would say for every contract, I believe there should be like an exit clause,
Okay.
which I believe should be respected by both the team, the club, and the players.
Yeah.
Yeah, with due consideration of time and see if the club would get a replacement on time and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So I believe because this is not the first time I've seen players trying or see it happened to Osimhen a couple of seasons ago while he was trying to leave Napoli. I think Demola Lookman had his fair share and a couple of other big players. I think Mo Salah had similar issue at the point. He wanted to
Yeah.
exit. Yeah. So if I'm not mistaken, so I just feel the contract, whatever contract that's been signed by the team and the player, should if there's an exit clause and that clause is met, I just think it should be respected because if you keep a player and the player is not happy, as Trevor actually said, it's just you're not gonna get the best out of him. And if you
Yeah.
decide to keep him as a punishment, you're still paying him wages every weekly or monthly, as the case may be.
Yeah.
So who's losing? You
Yeah.
could say the player's career is going downwards, but
Yeah.
but at the end of the day, you're still paying him
Yeah.
monthly, weekly wages, and so bonuses that is entitled to.
Yeah.
So I in this case, I know a player cannot force
Mm.
his way into another club except if there's like a contact from his manager or agent saying, "Oh, Barcelona wants you.
Yeah.
Are you sure you can find your way out of Atletico and come to Barcelona?"
Mm.
That is when but as a player himself,
Mm.
Rashford would have gladly stayed at Barcelona, but
Okay.
yeah, but it's back to United.
Mm. Yeah.
You
Eh,
get what I'm trying to say.
yeah.
So I just think if there's an exit clause, both the team and the player should respect whatever exit clause is in the contract, and so everyone can be happy.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, it really obviously he really wants to play for Barcelona, whether he wants to play um whether he wants to play alongside Lamine Yamal, I don't know. Well,
But is Barcelona ready to like go all the way to get him? That's a second question.
yeah,
Is
that's a
there
good
an exit clause in his contract that says so point in time, if the other team can pay a certain amount of money, then we let you go? These
yeah.
are things that needs to be put into consideration.
That's very true. That's very. Anyway, this is all we've got time for on this segment, on the first segment of the football referee. As we move on to the second segment, we hope you join us as well in the second segment of the football referee. So I've been Emmy Hickins, and he calls me Cos,
And I'm Trevor Gear, and he calls me Bruv.
and we call Jerome the Brummy King. It's not going away. It's not going away.
The Brummy
Uh,
King.
so join us in the second segment of the football referee. So.